We are always trying to improve our skill. Sometimes we do well, sometimes we don't. And when we don't do well, sometimes we can feel like a failure. In this video, we're going to talk about what to do when you are not living up to your own expectations or other people's expectations of you. I think there are two ways that we can approach this problem. The first is shift our perspectives, that we see these moments of not living up to our potential as opportunities for feedback, opportunities to learn rather than moments where we have done badly. So rather than feeling like a failure, seeing it as a place where we can get some feedback and then take that feedback and use it to improve our skill. So, let's say that you have a particular skill that you're trying to improve. Let us say that you're relearning tennis right now, and every time you go on the court, you want to hit more powerful serves. You work hard in practice to try and develop a more powerful serve. You go on the court, you compete against somebody else, and you serve poorly. Now, if you were to see this as a moment where you have failed, where you have not lived up to your own expectations, that's gonna be pretty demotivating, because you're gonna start to feel like you are inadequate as a tennis player, and you don't want to go on the court and feel like that, because it's just going to lead to worse performances. So, instead what we can do is we can acknowledge that yes, my serve wasn't good today. But the fact that my serve wasn't good today means that I can get some feedback from this session on the things that I need to improve to make my serve better. If we take this approach, then we are not a failure. We have simply gained some knowledge about the things that we need to work on. So that's the first way to deal with this problem. It is to shift our perspective and to see these moments of not living up to our own expectations as opportunities for feedback, as opportunities to learn. The second thing that we can do is we can make sure that our expectations of ourselves are realistic. If we set ourselves up for failure by having unrealistic expectations, then it's probably inevitable that we are going to fail to live up to those expectations and feel like a failure. So let's take a look at how we can make sure that our expectations are realistic. There are two parts to this. One is to make sure that our expectations are based on our current level of ability, that they're not based on some fantasy version of ourselves that we might want to be. And the second thing is to make sure that our expectations are specific enough and detailed enough so that we know exactly what we need to do to achieve them. Let's take an example from everyday life. Let's say that you have a job where you have to write reports. You're writing a report and you want to write a great report. If your idea of a great report is vague, if it doesn't have any specifics, then it's very difficult to know whether or not you have written a great report, because you don't know what the criteria for a great report are. It's kind of like saying, I want to be a millionaire. Yes, it's nice to have that as a goal, but it doesn't really tell us anything about the steps that we need to take to get there. Does being a millionaire mean that you need to invest in stocks? Does it mean that you need to invest in property? Does it mean that you need to start a business? And similarly, with the report, what does a great report look like? Well, maybe a great report is a report that has lots of detail in it, that has lots of analysis, that is presented in an easy-to-read format. Maybe a great report is one that is finished on time and to a high standard, so those are things that we can control. So, if we know what a great report looks like, then we can go away and write our report, and we can evaluate our report against those criteria. And if we find that our report doesn't meet those criteria, then we can see that as an opportunity to improve our writing, to learn something about what makes a great report. So rather than seeing it as a failure, rather than seeing it as a situation where we haven't lived up to our expectations, we can see it as a chance to learn something new. So coming back to the example of the serve, if we want to make sure that our expectation of our serve is realistic, then we need to ask ourselves, okay, what does a good serve look like? Well, a good serve is a serve that has good form, good technique, a good body position, a good arm position, a good form position. A good serve is a serve that is consistent. A good serve is a serve that is fast. So, if we can define what a good serve looks like, then we can go away and work on our serve, and then after we have practiced and we have competed, we can look at our serve and say, okay, did I achieve my goal with this serve? Was this serve a good serve? And if it wasn't, then why wasn't it a good serve? Was it because I didn't have good form? Was it because my body position wasn't good? Was it because my arm position wasn't good? Or was it just because my timing was slightly off? So, if we can break down our goal into smaller components, then we can make progress towards our goal step by step. We can make progress towards our goal in a way that feels manageable and achievable. And whenever we achieve one of these smaller goals, whenever we achieve one of these smaller steps along the way, we should celebrate that achievement. We should enjoy the feeling of achieving a goal, of feeling like we have done something well. And we should use that feeling to motivate us to keep going, to keep working, to keep improving. So often we feel like failures because we have set ourselves up for failure. We have set ourselves unrealistic expectations. We have vague ideas of what success looks like. And then, when we don't achieve that vague idea of success, we feel like a failure. So next time you find yourself in this situation, I challenge you to do two things. First, try and see this as an opportunity to gain some feedback, an opportunity to learn something new. And second, make sure that your expectations of yourself are realistic. Make sure that they're based on your current level of ability. Make sure that you are not comparing yourself to some fantasy version of yourself. And also make sure that your expectations are specific and detailed enough so that you know exactly what you need to do to achieve them. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more videos about performance psychology and mental skills training. Also, if you would like some help with setting realistic goals, with knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are, with developing a plan to achieve your goals, then why not book a coaching session with me using the link below. Thanks for watching. See you soon.